My sons, can you hear me?
Well, here we are again. Yet another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. But, you know, it's like getting an extra slice of pizza. I'll never say no to it. Speaking of getting a familiar feeling, this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, and it's a roguelike, which means you'll be playing the run over and over with changes to it, be it the difficulty or the unique effects and bonuses you'll get along the way. But how does it fare to similar games like Hades? Does it provide that in-depth feeling where you just want to keep going again and again, making an endless game? Well, that's what I'm here to clear up, as I played through all of it. So first things first, Splinter has been kidnapped, and it's up for you playing as the Ninja Turtles to find out what exactly is going on. And this is a decent framework to set up the roguelike elements, as you will uncover more of the mystery with each run, thus giving you incentive to keep playing. And while this story isn't that revolutionary, the performances of all these characters were fantastic. The voice work and writing fit the characters so well and are so delightful. I never got tired of hearing it, and I always was looking forward to what would happen next. So how's the art style? Oh, it's beautiful. These hard contrasts and the darkness and the lightness coming together to make everything pop. These strong colors and brushstrokes of the menu. It's very appealing. The art is great, and it looks great on the Switch. What I particularly like is the designs of the turtles. They are really good looking. They very much pop, and all the characters have this visual sharpness and boldness that just amps up the attitude, which is what TMNT is all about. But do these looks affect the performance of the game with all the action going on? From what I've experienced, very minorly. When the action of the game gets going and there's a ton of enemies on screen, it never really felt like it faltered too much. The worst performance I had was often looking into the menus as it would stutter up and freeze and even one time crash. But that's not when the action's going on, so I really don't worry about that too much. And as I mentioned, it did crash once. And other bugs, such as audio going out temporarily, only for it to come back on a few seconds after, were the extent of the issues I ran into. So while it's not perfect, it's not that bad, and hopefully it will get improved with a post-release patch. So in aspects of visuals and arts, it's great, but roguelikes are all about that endless gameplay loop. And how does this game compare? To me, this game feels more like an evolution of a beat-em-up rather than a roguelike. First of all, each turtle plays slightly unique, with their own benefits and weaknesses. And that really helps you find a favorite, as each one has a beneficial play style. And I always kind of preferred Michelangelo's quick combos and Donatello's very defensive gameplay. And I think this was a great addition, not only for single player, but multiplayer, because it gives everybody a unique role. So you'll always want to mix it up. And the way these turtles play will evolve each run as you get benefits that'll make each turtle feel completely different by the end of the run. So while the controls are simple, I feel like the bonuses really help, because when you get a good synergy, the game feels great. But once it's over, you lose all those bonuses and start from the beginning all over again. And while the combat feels diverse every run, the environments and hazards don't quite live up to the uniqueness of a roguelike. You'll often go through the same layouts over and over again. What really mixes it up is the enemy types. And the enemies have a unique element. If you have different factions spawned in, they'll attack each other. What is this, Doom? And that's really cool. That definitely makes each combat scenario stand out, even if the environments aren't that varied. And these enemies are no joke. This game is difficult. It took me 20 attempts to beat the game on my own for the first time, mostly due to the bosses. When you run into them first time, expect to die. They hit hard and they have a lot of health. And these bosses can change with variants. So you may get an easier one time or a way harder variant another. So once again, that roguelike element comes in to spice things up. So you know what? It is dangerous to go alone. And that's why this game shines, especially when you go into multiplayer, because through each run through, as every player gets their own synergetic ability, each player will be able to bounce off of each other's movesets to really benefit each other to be able to take on the harder challenges. Because once you beat the run the first time, you get extra harder challenges that make each run even harder. Now, making things harder is one element of a roguelike, but the other side is unpredictability. And that's where I think this game falls short. Everything is much more laid out, so decisions won't seem as risky as they are in other games like Hades. You'll always find another shop to buy pizza within 3 to 4 rooms. The bosses are always in the same order, it just gets a little predictable. So that's why I say this game feels more like an evolution of the beat 'em up, rather than a roguelike that honors the beat 'em up legacy of the TMNT franchise. But does that make it a bad game? No, not at all. This game is a blast to play with others, and I totally think it's worth getting 3 of your friends to come by and play all night trying to defeat Shredder with the hardest difficulty possible. It is fun. It's just not endlessly fun. So with that in mind, I give this game a 7 out of 10. Thank you all for watching. And for all things cowabunga and gaming, subscribe to GameXplain.